No, thanks, Nick. Wanted to ask, I think there's even been some times this year where you've had to go in at center just because of all the kind of crazy things that have happened there with trades and guys moving around the lineup and stuff like that. Are there any advice you can give those young guys that are kind of going through that right now? Because there's, Jack and Kevin, Stens and Tex, those are such young guys, and you play that position a little bit. Is there anything you can kind of do to help bring those guys along a little bit?
Well, I think you try to give them some insight, as obviously it's a position I played a little bit in the league, and but they've done a great job. They're learning on the fly right now, which isn't the easiest thing to do, but they've shown real good promise and helped solidify an area that was one of our stronger points. And now we've got some maybe not question marks, but I mean, if you look at the way Jack has stepped in and helped us in that area, I mean, he's done a fantastic job. And Stens, I mean, every game has improved. And so you know what, I think there's just more maybe question marks in the sense that there's not normally guys you'd see in our lineup in that position, but they're all tried and tested in a lot of ways at center and have done a good job. So you try to give them little tips, but I think they know that the more reliable they are defensively, the more opportunities we're going to get in our other end. So I think as we focus from our end out, that's always been an area of emphasis for me whenever I've played center, is to make sure we take care of our own end. And it's amazing how much more time you spend in the offensive zone because you're coming out quick. And I think those guys are learning that as we go, and it's part of our system as well.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask, the announcement came down today about getting about 2,000 fans back in the arena starting a week or so ago. I imagine you know what that connection's like with the fifth line with all the years you've been here, but just you've got to be pretty excited, and the players have to be pretty excited about that potential here coming up.
Yeah, I mean, even just 2,000 fans, we are pretty pumped about. Just obviously the trend is that we're moving forward. That's a great sign that the league and everyone here feels comfortable that we can get some people in the arena. And then just for us, I think we've all said it. We've never taken the fans for granted, but you really realize when they're not in the building, the energy that kind of gets sucked out of it. And I'm just looking forward to that influx of energy again from our fans. Even the 2,000, I'm sure they're going to be so excited to be in the building. So the energy will be much more noticeable, I'm sure. And that's why we play the game. I mean, you get to this, I've said this before, you get to this point of your career to not only play in the best league in the world, but to play in front of a packed house every night. And, that's something you work and aspire to be in front of, to score goals in front of fans and to have your team winning in front of fans. So, that's something we're really excited about welcoming back, and I'm sure the fifth line's pumped.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Dave Metzel. Go ahead, Dave.
Morning, Nick.
Hey, Dave.
I don't think we had a chance to ask you about the opportunity you had the other night to wear those special Willie O'Ree skates, just what that opportunity, it's a select group of players that got a chance to do it. What did it mean to you?
Yeah, it was special. I mean, Willie O'Ree is a pioneer in this league, and is getting the recognition he deserves for breaking the color barrier and paving the way for so many players. You listen to some of the other players in the league that have said what an influence he is on them, and and right on through. I think we're realizing that there's room to grow here as a league, and if we had to listen and take our time and understanding what exactly it is that we need to do better, and I'm just proud to be able to wear those skates in honor of Willie, and hopefully we can continue to be part of the change.
Yesterday, Torts and some of the other guys who spoke talked about the significance of that win the other night as an opportunity for you guys to just be yourselves for a minute and enjoy it. And because there are so few of those opportunities in this new world we're all living in, wins like that and moments like that are as significant, maybe more significant than ever. I wonder if you could just elaborate on that, and if you agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, I think we're realizing this year how different the season is, and right or wrong or good or bad, it's the reality of what we're playing. And the normal things that we maybe took for granted of being able to go out for dinners and having the camaraderie and enjoying a win because you can go for lunch after or sit around and have a few waters after the game. I think that's where this has really changed, and I think it's been an issue the whole pandemic. I mean, whether you're playing hockey or just sitting at home, it's been taking a lot of mental toughness to get through for a lot of people. So it's no different for us, and changing how we've approached things, but it's important for us to realize that when you are in this situation, and now we've been in it for 19 games coming up, this is the reality of wins are what's going to make it fun. Playing the right way is what's going to make it fun. We don't get the extracurriculars right now, and that's okay because we get an opportunity to play hockey and win hockey games. So our emphasis has to be on that all the time. It's great to be around the guys, but let's make it count when we're around each other to, have the success that we want to have and play the right way. And then all of a sudden now you're having fun. Then the season doesn't feel like a grind. You're not having meetings and talking about what you need to do better. You're talking about, okay, well, what can we improve on? But having fun doing it. And I think you saw that out of the last game where we were still room for improvement, but playing the right way enough to get us a win. And now we build off that and the good feelings in the room. The past few days have been what we want to see, and it's got to continue.
Thanks, Nick.
Next, we'll go to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Hedge.
You guys all have had to have a lot of patience over the last year or so, 2 big long breaks and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, guys like Peak and now Carlson, those guys didn't even get to play for at all for 11 months. How impressed are you, especially with Peak, to be able to come in and do what he's doing? We'll see what Gabe does tonight, but just to be able to step back into an NHL game after basically not playing at all for 11 months.
I just think it speaks to how good of pros they are, first of all, and especially as young players. Obviously it's been an unfortunate circumstance with just the way the season's gone for these guys. Maybe they do get in more games because we have more games to play, or the bubble situation obviously was just right into a playoff situation. So you're not really trying to test out guys and see where they belong, but they've handled themselves amazingly well. And I know it's not an easy position for those guys. Your heart breaks as a teammate and as a player, your heart breaks for them when they're coming every day to work and get better and don't really get that opportunity to get in the lineup. But that's the reality. And it's hard. It's part of professional sports, but as a teammate and as a guy on the team, you try to lift them up and make them feel as a part of it as you can. But to see them get in the lineup and especially Peaker to play as well as he has without a lot of game time, I just think speaks so much of his hockey IQ and what he's going to become as a player. And then Gabe Carlson, to see him, come in the lineup here. And I think it's awesome. I think it gives us a boost as well to see these guys come in. You want to play well for them, to give them a chance to really get their footing. And, but one thing we've always said about our team, the depth that we have, we're very fortunate. They've done a good job of bringing in really good players that can step in at any moment. And those 2 guys have obviously proven that.
To start this season, you guys have obviously had, a few issues, some issues in the defensive zone, trying to get out, trying to get into transition and get on the offense. But that's not necessarily a ton different than previous seasons early in the season. You guys have had some issues and then just worked through them. Is there enough time to do what you did in preseason, in other seasons, to just kind of, because there's new faces here and everything, to get on that same page and become that, identity and Blue Jackets that we know?
Well, I think that's what you're seeing is the, we've had some inconsistencies, but ultimately everybody's going through it. So we can't blame it on the time schedule that we have. We knew we only had 56 games to get involved. We had I thought we had a really good training camp, but for whatever reason, we just didn't have that commitment to that side that we needed to have early on. And you can blame it on rust, you can blame it on new faces, but ultimately it comes down to a commitment of how we want to play. And we just had some inconsistency there, and that's, you can blame it on some of the older guys or whatever you want, but it had to get rectified. And I thought we took a good step in that direction last game, and we'll continue to grow. I think, there's guys in new roles, but you have to understand, part of being a good team is understanding your role, owning it and going out there and executing it every time. And I think guys understand that now, that, we're not at the luxury of having 82 games to figure it out and have that stretch where you can kind of go through a little bit of a lull. We don't have a lot of time. We're going to be halfway through the season coming up here soon. And how that works, where if you're in the fold, if you're in the mix, it's important to be right there. Otherwise, if you're on the outside looking in, it's hard to get back into it. So I think that urgency now is really shown up in our game, and we've really focused on it in practice, and you can see the commitment level is really starting to rise there. And I'm excited to see that out of our group. And I think it's already translated in the first game after, talking about it, and hopefully we can do it again tonight.
When Cam is as hot as he is and has been for the past week, I mean, how much fun is it for I guess all you guys, but especially you and him?
I'm thrilled for him. I mean, I know it was a little struggle early on, but there's one thing about Cam, you never count him out. I mean, I think that's when he's at his best, is when he's counted out, because that's how he's kind of lived his whole life and his career. People have always said, oh, he's too small or can't do this. And he's shown again what he's capable of doing. And we're pumped for him, not only for him, but just for our team. When Cam's providing that kind of offense and his energy, we become a way more dangerous team. So it's great to see. And I know he's feeling good. And usually, he's the type of guy that when he gets on a roll, he stays on a roll because his mind and everything, his legs are moving. And he's a big minute player for us too, right? He plays in all situations. And so, yeah, I'm as his friend and teammate, I'm thrilled for him. But I'm also thrilled for our team because that's a great sign.
How much, last one for me, how much laughter did you get out of his last goal that hit the guy and just kind of floated into the net?
Yeah, when I said when you're hot, and he ran with it. So it's nice to see those ones go in. I mean, those a lot of times, you're wondering where the bounces are going to come from, but you shoot the puck, you score, and I think it's a good lesson for all of us.
All right, thanks, Nick.
All right,
thanks.
Finally, we'll go to Mark Shy. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Glenn. Good morning, Nick.
Hi, Mark.
You mentioned the inconsistencies earlier, and Torts has moved players around a lot through the lineup, but the consistent player in my mind has been Riley Nash. Just no matter what's been thrown at him, what teammates have been put by him, he seems like he's been one of your more dependable centers. Can you just talk about how important his role has been to your team, and especially with working with some of the younger players?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nasher doesn't get the credit he deserves sometimes when – the way he plays and what he provides our team. And just, first of all, his hockey IQ, he's not maybe one of the flashiest guys, but he seems to always be in the right spot. And when you put him with anyone, a lot of times guys really enjoy playing with him because you just rely on where he's going to be and how he plays. And he's been a really valuable player, not only on the ice, but in the room. He's a veteran guy, a guy I talk to a lot about our team. And, he's a guy that really makes a difference, maybe not in a big way, but in the little things. And you need those players. So, he's always seems to find a way to be impactful in the game, and speaks volumes, I think, just about him as a person and a pro. And, so it's nice. And I think he's got the dad vibe now. So he's offering more advice and just a little more chill. And it's good to see him. It's been really fun to get to know him as a teammate, and obviously what he's provided us. Like I said, it's not sometimes the most flashy, but it's so consistent that it helps our group so much.